Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. This presentation focuses on verbs and situations. Let's get into the history of the word verb. The first records of the term verb come from around 1350. It ultimately comes from the Latin noun verbum, meaning a word. A verb could be said to be the most important word in a sentence because it tells us what is going on. A verb can change many of its features to correctly fit into a sentence. Where did verbs come from? Although many of the most commonly used verbs in English and almost all the irregular verbs come from the Old English, many others are taken from Latin or French. Nouns or adjectives can become verbs. What is the history of the verb? No, verb to be. From view to be, to become in the Old English verb beyond, we got the forms be, been, then being. From s to exist, we got the Old English forms ium pertaining to is, which became am and are is. From meaning arise, the Old English earth became are, and west to dwell remain in the Old English infinitive reason. The learning objectives of this presentation include that the learners will be able to decipher verbs and situations, discuss the classes of and or kinds of verbs, explain the properties of verbs person, number, we have voice, mood, including the tense. Alright, a verb is a word that asserts or expresses action or state of being. And there are classes and are kinds of verbs: regular, irregular, transitive, intransitive, and copulative. So we are on the regular and their examples. Regular verbs are verbs whose past tense versions are formed by adding an ed to the end, such as walked, climbed, decide, describe, drop, want, call, and beg. So a simple past tense contains only the past tense, as in she walked to the school. What about the irregular verbs and their examples? So a regular verb is defined as a verb that does not follow the usual rules of grammar. For example, eat is an irregular verb because its past tense is ate and its past participle is eaten, not eaten, according to the Macmillan Dictionary. What about the transitive verb? No? We have here the transitive verb, intransitive, and copulative verb. And let's take this one after the other. Getting back to regular verbs. Okay? Forming its past and past participle by adding ed or d or t to the present. Like count, counted, counted. So the past tense and past participle are exactly the same. No? Whereas when we go to irregular verbs, the verb that forms its past and past participle will be in a different way. For example, under Rule 2.1, the three principal parts are the same: burst, burst, burst. So the same, no? From present, past, and past participle, past tense and past participle. The base and the past tense, which are the same, like beat, beat, beaten. 2.3, the base and the past participle are the same: become, became, become. So present and the past participle, present and the past participle are the same. The past tense and the past participle are the same, like bind, bound, and bound. Past tense, past participle, bound. They are the same. All parts are different, like write, wrote, and written. Now, let's go to the transitive verb. Now, when we come to transitive verbs, now please take note that it describes an action which is exercised directly on an object, and it needs an object to receive the action. That requires an object. Like dishonesty destroys confidence. You ask what after destroys what? Confidence. So it answers. So that is an example of a transitive verb. Okay, we have intransitive verb. The action is expressed by the verb, which is limited to the subject, and there is no other object that receives the action that does not require an object, like speaks politely. So it is complete in itself. So we will go to the distinction between direct and indirect object. A verb that tells who or what receives the action is direct, while those or that it is used when the direct object is used and indirect object is sometimes used in answering a question pertains to an indirect one. Right. The boys catch the ball. You ask what after the verb, no? Catch what? Ball, catch the ball. So to know if a verb is transitive, you ask what or whom after the verb. If the answer can be found in the sentence, then the verb is transitive. So it requires an object to receive the action of the word. Right. Okay, next we have the distinction between a linking from auxiliary verbs. So a linking and or helping verb links the subject with the predicate word. It consists of the verb be and its forms. We have the following examples on screen. While an auxiliary is just used to form tenses of others. It is composed of the forms of be and have. So take note of the following examples. Again, a linking verb is also otherwise known as a copula, which is a verb that joins a subject with the predicate that often ascribes the quality to the subject. While our linking verbs usually distinguish from the action verbs, which indicate an action performed by the subject. So, uh, we will go to the next slide, which is on the properties of verbs. So please take note that there are five: person, number, voice, mood, and tense. When we come to person, it denotes the identity of the subject. The true persons are first the speaker, which is the first person. Then the second person refers to the person spoken to, and the third person the person spoken of or spoken about. So um, the number denotes whether one or more persons or things are meant, and it may be singular and or plural. So please take note of this distinction between the singular and plural number for with respect to verbs. Now we will go to the voice. Okay, the voice of the verb denotes the performing or the receiving of an action. And we have the voice of the verb could be active and or passive. So voice refers to the form of a verb that indicates when a grammatical subject performs the action or is the receiver of the action. When the action is written, no, is in the active voice, the subject performs the action, while in the passive voice, the subject receives the action. In other words, the voice of the verb is the form of the verb which shows whether the subject acts or is acted upon, whether it performs or suffers the action. Now, let's go into the detail. No? So we will have also the distinction, no? On screen, the active and the passive voice. Very clear. For example, Jose plays baseball in the active voice. So our actor is Jose. The verb is plays. No? Baseball. Baseball is played by Jose. So changing active to passive voice of the verb. The subject in the active voice is the doer, the performer, or the actor, while in the passive voice, the verb is the receiver of the action. Now let's go to tackle about the mood that indicates the manner in which a statement is made. That denotes the attitude toward the action or state expressed. No? Moods of verbs include, okay, first we have the indicative that expresses a fact or asks a question. Statement is presented as a fact. Example, Laura speaks. So the mood of the sentence is determined by the inflection of the verb. A verb may be in one or three moods. We have the indicative, the imperative, and the subjunctive. So again, what is an indicative mood of the verb? In grammar, the indicative mood is a verb form you use to make declarative statements that you assume to be factually accurate, such as when you ask a question in the form of a statement or state an opinion as if it were a fact. Now, let us go to the next uh, mood, which is imperative mood that gives a command or makes a request. Example, speak, Laura. Please speak, Laura. Distinction then between command and a request sentences. What is lacking there is period. Okay, so the imperative mood is a verb form used to make a demand or to give advice or instructions, no, like slow down. The imperative mood is one of the three grammatical moods in English, along with the indicative mood and the subjunctive mood. So sentences in the imperative mood imply a second person subject such as you, but they normally don't actually include the word you or any other subject. Imperative mood sentences are stop, don't touch, go to your room. Okay, we will go to the subjunctive mood, which is pertaining to when a statement exemplifies a desire or a condition contrary to fact. The statement is one of doubt or condition. For example, if I were Laura, so the subjunctive mood is a verb form used to refer to a hypothetical scenario or to express a wish, a suggestion or command, such as suggest you be quiet. The subjunctive is one of the three grammatical moods in English, along with also the indicative mood, and the imperative mood. Now, let's go to the next property, which is all about the tense of the verb. Now, what is tense in verbs? Tense denotes time. It refers to the time of action, telling whether the action has taken place, is taking place, or will take place. So linguists, led by Lewis in 1986, postulated that would refer to only two tenses, whether present and past. Tense can be applied to the three factors, namely time, reality, and register. Present tense is used for actions and states that are close, while past tense is used for actions and states that are remote. Now, why are there two tense types? Since the expression of future time does not involve any inflection of the verb, we do not refer to a future tense. Strictly speaking, there are only two tenses in English, present and past. So in the verb fell tells us that Richard fell in love in the past and specifically on the 80th birthday. Why does English have only two tenses? The reasoning was that the technical definition of a tense is when an inflectional morphological change has occurred. So the only two examples of this in English would be the present simple with the third person singular, the s suffix, and the past simple with the ed suffix. Why are there different tenses? Again, tense communicates an event's location and time. So the different tenses are identified by their associative verb forms. And there are three main verb tenses: past, present, and future. In English, each of these tenses can take four main aspects: simple, perfect, continuous, also known as progressive, and perfect continuous. Now, while in college, we learned about that there are five forms of verbs: ordinary, emphatic, progressive, continuous form, used to form, then the am is plus going to form of the verb. With these tenses, present, past, future, present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect tense. Now, why is it important to learn the different tenses of the verb? Tenses are a fundamental part of the English language. They help in the following ways: to describe things that take place at different times, could be past, present, and future, to build complex sentence structures for conveying complex ideas. What is the function then of the different tenses? So the past, the present, and future are the central divisions of time in English. The present represents actions happening now, while the past represents actions that happened earlier, and the future describes the actions that will happen later. The purpose of the tenses in the English language then are used in communication, both verbal and written, to indicate the time at which something happened. Improper usage of tenses could lead to confusion and misinterpretation of the sender's message. So let's delve into the um, totality of the following. So we have here the forms versus the principal tenses. Ordinary, emphatic, progressive, used to, is going to form with the principal tense, past, future, present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect tense. Then again, we exemplified that there are two while ago. So, um, what are the forms of verbs? So, modern standard English has various verb forms, including the finite verb and the non-finite. So finite verb forms such as go, goes, and went, and the non-finite such as to go, going, and gone. So combinations of such forms with auxiliary verbs was going, and would have gone. Um, they can be used to express tense or time reference, like the aspect, the mood, the modality, and the voice in various configurations. For details of how inflected verbs of forms of verbs are produced in English, we can um, refer to the next episode that I'm going to share with this group of learners. So for the grammatical structure of, for example, of clauses, including word order, we will also be dealing with English clause syntax later and to the next presentations soon. So let us delve into the specific uses of the following. For the present tense ordinary form, there are five. Okay, if we equate this with formulas, we will have the PTO is equal to GT, PT, PCL, PHA, and the CFA. For one, we have general truth. When it is generally accepted, no, or scientifically proven, for example, air exerts pressure. So our verb there is exerts, not exerts. So, present truth, if it is true as of the moment of speaking or writing, like we study the grammatical structure of English, okay, it is true as of the moment of speaking that we study right now the grammatical structure of English. Then we have, it is used to express for permanent condition or location. For example, Dipolog City lies in Western Mindanao. Present habitual action, I take a bath every afternoon. So, habitually done, no? Certain future action, mother arrives at 8 o'clock this evening. Meaning, even if we do not use will and shall, still the verb expresses that the action is yet to be done, is yet to be performed. Now, let us go to the next presentation on the present tense emphatic form of the verb. Okay, so it is actually used in the following instances: in placing emphasis on the action, I do love you; in making negative statements, they do not attend the meeting; in making questions answerable by yes or no, does he go to Manila? In answering the above questions, if it is yes, then yes, he does; no, he doesn't; in making questions using the 5 W's plus 1 H. Okay, so uh, what did you do last Sunday? So in other words, the general formula is that we have does or do plus the base form of the verb with the following uses of the present tense emphatic form of the verb. Then we go to the excuse me, past tense progressive form, the was, were plus the being form of the verb, which is used with the past going on action when another past action occurred. So, I was sleeping when the telephone rang. So we have here was sleeping as our past tense progressive form. No, um, the past progressive tense is a verb form used to refer to an action that was going on at the time, no, in the past, no, was sleeping, no, when the telephone rang. So the past progressive is formed using the past tense of the auxiliary verb to be, no. We have was sleeping. along with the present participle, so of the main verb. Okay, so we will have to go to the past tense used to form. So it is used for um, and it's not part habitual action, past habitual action. I used to drink milk when I was young. So though use was once commonly used to mean to be in the habit or custom, this sense now only occurs in the past tense used to. So uh, come to think of it, that would pertain to the action that was repeatedly done in the past. No? So used for past habitual action. Now we will go to the future tenses of the verb. No? Okay, so we have the ordinary form shall and will plus base form of the verb that denotes an action that is yet to be done. You use shall with I and we, and will for he, she, you, and it. So to form the future simple tense, use the base form of the verb and add will and or shall before it. For example, uh, other than the example on screen, I will eat dinner tonight. No? So that's an example of a future tense ordinary form. Let's go to the um, future tense, no, with shall and will plus be plus V in form of the verb that denotes an action that is yet to be made. Like she will be leaving for Manila next week. So that is a form of a future tense. No? Subject plus will plus be plus base form of the verb. Okay, so uh, being form of the verb, no, she will be leaving for Manila next week. So the action will still happen, right? So we will go to the next presentation, which is the future tense. The is going to form of the verb. So that exemplifies that the action will still happen. She's going to leave for Manila next week. So going to plus a base form of the verb, no? So um, that is exactly referring where the action will still be made, no? Will still be made. Okay, the perfect tenses of the verb. We have present perfect tense, ordinary form of the verb, with the following formula: PPTO is equal to has and or have plus past participle with the following uses to denote an action that has just completed or finished. She has just passed the board examination. So the action has just completed or finished. The present perfect now is formed by using the auxiliary verb have and the past participle of the main verb has or have. No? However, the third person singular uses has instead of have. Now, it is also used to denote an action that began in the past, no? That's in the past and continues in the present. He has written the composition since this morning. So uh, that is for the perfect tenses of the verb ordinary form. Now let's proceed to the present perfect tense progressive uh, form. So it is used to denote an action that began in the past, continues to the present, and may continue into the future. Like example, mother has been working all day. It's true that mother has been working all day. True, in the past, continues to the present, and may continue into the future. So let's go to the past perfect tenses of the verb ordinary form. We have the formula PPTO is equal to had plus past participle, which is used to denote the past action that was completed before another past action occurred. For example, I checked the errors he had made. So we have the past action that was completed and another past action that occurred. Okay, so we have past perfect tense progressive continuous form. You have the formula PPTP is equal to had plus been plus the being form, which is used to denote an action, no, the past action that was going on for a certain period before another past action happened. The band had been playing for 1 hour when the guests arrived. So that is example of a past perfect tense. Future perfect tense of the verb. So um, this is referring to or formed by using the will and have plus the past participle, no? Past participle, which is used to express a future action that will be completed before another future action happens. So I will have graduated from college by the year 2050. Okay, future perfect tense progressive form shall and will plus have been plus the being form which is used to express an action that will be going on and will be completed before another future action happens. For example, my little sister will have been playing for 2 hours before father will arrive or before father arrives. Still, that is also correct. But in the nutshell, for the future perfect progressive tense, no, we have will have been playing. Then we go to the next slide, which is thank you for watching. Bye for now. Thank you for watching the simple presentation, and I hope you have gone Dutch of the lessons intended for this session. My sincerest thanks and gratitude again, time and again, for sparing your precious time. God bless us all, and see you all in my next vlog for more of your favorite content, for example, in phonology or perhaps morphology, shall be uploaded for educational enrichment. Bye for now. Again, God bless us all.